Before I begin, one piece of good news is that we have assigned mentors to every team, except one team. E-Rentals is the only team that I'm still coordinating for, but everyone else has an assigned mentor. I will flash that out at the end of the class. So that's one piece of good news. The other thing is today's is a very, very exciting class and certainly one of the most important class that you will have within this course. And you will be able to tell from the slides we present, as well as the fact that we have two invited, highly successful entrepreneurs that have sprung out of IIT Bombay. So, these are great examples and benchmarks that have been set for all of you to follow. And okay. So good, exciting lecture today. So let me first share my screen and show you some of the slides that, Professor Ravi and Professor Raj think are some of the most important slides for any entrepreneur to see. So these were designed by Professor Ravi. He was there last time. So what is important is, how do you go about doing the innovation part and what are the pitfalls that may come up about what is the process is what we will study today. In the form of case studies or stories, case stories from the entrepreneurs directly. So the picture that you see on the left, the person, he's not a medical doctor. His name is Adarsha. He's one of the co-founders of IU Devices, along with Tapas Pandey, who is the invited speaker today. And we will study, how to go about idea to impact, what are the pathways and valleys of death, and then how to go about overcoming that. So this is one of the most important slides that has gained a lot of attention at national level. This was designed by Professor Ravi himself. And from what I know, even at national level, this slide is being shown as an entrepreneurial thing. So what you see here is a typical innovation process start with a good scientific concept, technological concept, which typically comes out of a academic scenario. And then from ideation to POC is what can be called R&D. This is, if it's true scientific R&D, it's sometimes referred to as core R&D. Otherwise, it is referred to as applied R&D. In your case, most of it will be applied R&D. So you have to go from that conceptual stage to the proof of concept stage. And then from the proof of concept stage to a real prototype. So the expectation for this class, the benchmark we have tried to set is that you should be able to do a prototype within this class. And it's possible because at Betic, we have done this in the form of hackathons within a span of 4 days. And we presented to a panel of about 50 judges sometimes. These are all doctors, business people, investors. And we have held an entire event. It's a big event held in the auditorium. So if it can be done in 4 days by non-IITians, I'm sure you can do it in less than 4 days if it comes to that. And then once you get to the prototyping stage, then you have to really build the real product, then all these design aspects of the product, the scientific aspects of the product, the efficiency aspects of the product, the cost aspects of the product, the scale up aspects of the product start coming into picture. And then from the product to market, it's another big valley that you have to overcome. So all these pitfalls or valleys that you see, Professor Ravi calls them as valleys of death. And there are plenty of ideas. In the US, there is a saying, ideas are a dime a dozen, which means that for 10 cents, you can get 12 ideas if you were to literally calculate the mathematical aspect of it. But the point is, there are people with ideas and there are plenty of ideas, but the really brilliant people and the successful people are the ones who can take it from ideation to product to finally the market. And as you can see, in each stage, this valley of death typically becomes deeper and broader, in my view at least, because the requirements are high, the demands are high in each case, and the coordination required is higher, the planning required is higher, finance required is higher. But the financial aspect is possible, we are there to facilitate that. And then the true scale up happens from product to market. There will be a lot of activity and study and dedication required from all the team members that we have formed here. And 20 years ago, there were no, at least in India, as far as I know, including in IIT, there were no concepts of incubators or accelerators. But today we have DSSE, which is a sort of part incubator. We will also try to accelerate the growth for you. But then Sign is the big business incubator and accelerator within IIT Bombay. So you are very lucky to be at the right place at the right time if you have a good idea. And the numbers at the bottom indicate the kind of expenses that are typically incurred, especially in India. And I would even go to the extent of saying that even in US, if you were to translate that based on purchasing power parity, if you say, let's say $50,000 is roughly, sorry, 50,000 Indian rupees is roughly $1,000 based on purchasing power parity, it's actually real. These are actually like real numbers that it takes to go from one stage to the next and the following. And we call them technology readiness levels. On the top, we have listed TRL and numbers 1 through 9. So now in Betic, we have a proper thing set in place, and we will replicate that same, if not same, at least something based on Betic model. We will replicate the technology readiness levels for DSSE startups. Okay. And so we are banking on you to close the critical gap of how to go from ideation to research prototype to marketable products. This is another great slide. You are in here, you are in the sort of the third quadrant, the education quadrant, and you are going to combine the research aspect, innovate your way through, and then finally build a product. These require various kinds of perspectives as well as skills. uh, you have to create, you have to do hands-on work, you have to innovate all the time, but there are mentors assigned to you, there are people who are there to help you through this process. And obviously we start from academia, things start from academia, but it's a great feeling, and it makes real sense when you build products that impact society in a positive way. So you have to go from left to right, and have the positive impact. And who better than you people to do that? IIT engineers who are the most capable people to do that. And Professor Raj is the best example who has done it already. So this pathway we will try to take you through in this course as well as beyond. So if you successfully build prototypes in this course, we will take you forward. And this is, we live in a nation where majority are Hindus. Goddess Saraswati stands for knowledge. Goddess Lakshmi stands for financial impact on the right. And in between there is a lot of activity. So you have Goddess Durga in between, but this completes the whole circle. And I'm not a religious expert by any means, but from what I understand, our religion and Vedas tell us, and I'm sure other religions teach something similar, if not in exact words. So with that, I will invite Tapas Pandey, who is one of the co-founders of IU Devices, a biomedical device company. And why I keep saying biomedical device companies, at least based on my knowledge, the gestation period and the amount of effort required and the overall risk of failure is pretty high in biomedical companies. One product failure can lead to closing of the company. It has happened even in the US. So it has happened to the best of the people on the planet. So the level of preparation that goes into from ideation to market launch for a biomedical product is very high. You have to overcome multiple risks. So Tapas will tell you a great story, his personal story, and Adarsh's personal story that has come out of Betic, to tell you how exciting this entire entrepreneurial journey is. With that, Tapas, please take over. Can
Yeah,
I? And I'll just say one thing about Tapas. Tapas is a brilliant engineer. He had a very cushy job earlier. As far as I know, he's not a IIT pass out. Okay, and nor is Adarsha. But in the right place at the right time, these people have achieved tremendous heights. So this is a very, very inspirational story. And I have personally seen their growth. So, great example for all of you to follow. Tapas,
yeah.
please.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Nishant. Yeah, it was nice speaking with you, and the first three slides, they were really good. Yeah. So hi, as Dr. Nishant explained, my name is Tapas. So I come from Dehradun. Okay, and then there was an event in IIT Bombay in 2015. Okay, it was called Medic. Okay, so it was 5-day 4-night event where people from different parts of India come and apply. Okay, there was a set of 20 problems that we have to choose, and amongst that problem you have to work on that one problem, and at the end of that program you have to present. Okay, so this was the program that we were part of. So I was not knowing Adarsha and I was not knowing Dr. Nambiraj. So at that point in time, there were like there three people from three different backgrounds should be there. I was a electronics engineer, so Adarsha was in the hat of CS. Okay, and there was Dr. Nambiraj. So he was giving us the clinical insight about the problem that we want to solve. Yeah. So yeah. So I'll just go next. Yeah. So this was the event. If you can see on the top left side. So this is me. If you can see my mouse pointer, and he's Adarsh and he's Dr. So the thing is, in 2015, this is how we met, and this is how we formed the team. So first day was the team formation. So we like look out for a lot of people, and then there were a lot of speed dating that we did. Amongst that, like what are the skill set of each and every people. So it should be complementary. So the thing, it is very important in a team that if I am the one who is taking care of electronics, so there has to be someone who take care of CS, or there has to be someone who takes care of business. Okay, so all these things, complementary skills, are very important, because people generally think that, okay, he's from my branch, okay, I'll have someone from the same branch because it is comfortable to talk with them, these kind of things. But this is like these are the things that were inculcated in us from the day one, that this is how the team formation should happen. Okay, so after this, if you can see the arrow downwards, so here the after, so there was a lot of problem. Okay, 20, a set of 20 problems. So we choose a problem of transferring heart and lung sound from one part of the city or one place to a different place. Okay, so if you see below at the last day of the presentation, I am putting a stethoscope. Okay, so and this is me, and then Adarsha is listening to my heart sound via Skype. Okay, and the same sound was being relayed in the hall. Okay, so like people were listening to my heart and heartbeat at that point. Okay, so this is like what we did. Okay, and we were able to achieve this in 4 days, like 5 days and 4 nights. First day was for the team formation, and then after 4 days, so then we met Professor Ravi and Dr. Rupesh, and then they told like, hey guys, like this problem, actually it was very good that this problem came from a company which wanted this. Okay, so after what we did, we put all the things in a good enclosure. We went to Lamington Road. If you know, in Mumbai, there is a place called Lamington Road. From there you can buy all these shielding, these kind of things. So in actually in 4 days, we made this shield and this stethoscope microphone with good wires, and then we showed this thing to a company. So company was really impressed. They told like, we want to buy this system. Actually, what happened, the CEO of the company actually came to the lab. Okay, and we were also part of the lab. So in the 4 days, he was convinced, and we made like 3-4 samples for them. So it was like happy ending for us. Okay, and then what happened, we went to the job. Okay, I continued with my job, and Adarsha also continued with the job. So after after 3 months, we got a call from Professor Ravi that, hey, like if you want to join, and then this is like a nice option. Then we gave it a thought, and then me and Adarsha, we left our job. Okay, and then we came to the lab. So this is how the story started. Yeah, and then we were like we developed this, like if you can see the last picture. So this is like we were in Fortis Hospital, and we were actually doctor using our device for auscultation of heart and lungs. Yeah. So this is a typical, if you can see, this is the device that we made in 2015. So actually in January 2016 we joined. Okay, and then this was a alpha prototype, because at that point in time, we don't have access to the 3D printer and all that sophisticated technologies. Like we were just like basic individuals. So whatever we were getting from market, we were buying it and we were putting it together. But after coming to the lab, we got a chance, like we have a PCB milling machine, we have a good 3D printer where we can make a housing. So all these things we made in the lab. Okay, and then actually it was good. And then eventually, if you can see, the shape is not right, but functionality wise it was working as what is supposed to do. Okay, and then we have a beta prototype that it has a certain, kind of a design which you can hold in our hand. Okay, so here we have industrial design center, so there are a lot of interns who used to work with us with our lab, so they help in refining the design, how it should look like, how you should hold it. So all these aesthetics things came to our picture. Okay, means it really helped. Okay, and the thing is, and below, if you can see on the last. Okay, so this was like when we got a BAG grant, and then this is how the company was started. Okay, so first it was just transferring of heart and lung sound, okay, through a stethoscope. And the main USP of our device is it can be connected to any conventional stethoscope. If you can see, doctor don't like to buy a new stethoscope. We give this the device that we have made. You attach this and it converts any conventional stethoscope into a electronic stethoscope. So that was a innovation from the market perspective, like how you make sure that they don't have to discard their stethoscope. And what other people were doing, like there are many companies in US which were making these kind of devices, but it was looking like a MP3 player. And doctor, stethoscope, after putting stethoscope, it brings like look and feel of a doctor. Okay, so it looks like he's a doctor. But if you have a MP3 player, and doctor is auscultating, it looks like doctor is listening to like some music or some rock band. So the thing is, this is like we have to think from the psyche of a doctor also. So these things we got to know in the lab. It is not just making a device, but how your device is being perceived. Okay, this is very important. This is what we learned. Okay, and then after that, we started with the app. Okay, so if you can see that we in the app, we can see the like S1 and S2. This is the heart and heart sound. Okay, and then we have a graph where you listen to the you capture the heart from the point 1, point 2, point 3. So these are the things that we really worked on. Okay, because sending the data from stethoscope to the mobile, if you are transferring a data, it is fine. But if you're transferring some music file, so it has to be at the real time. Okay, so this was the tech that we developed. Okay, and it took us time, but we eventually did it. And then there's a cancellation thing, digital signal processing, so that all the background noise is removed. If the baby is crying, it should not come, or if the dog is barking outright, okay, so it should not get captured, because that will make a wrong diagnosis. Okay, so all these things we developed, and eventually our final device is made. This what you can see on my screen. Yeah, and then in 2017, before starting, we got a very good grant from government of India, about 50 lakh rupees. Yeah, it was like in our first attempt. Okay, so if you can see, this is me, Dr. Rupesh, and Darsha. We went to Delhi to pitch our like design and our device to them. And then after that, if you can see below, this is a new set of people we hired. Okay, so the thing is, I'm really happy that there's a set of diverse people here, one for making the device, one for marketing it, one first we were just making the device, but you need all these people who actually make the device, sell the device, make a cold call. Okay, all these things are very important to run a business. Yeah, so this is our team. So this is a place in Sign. Okay, Sign, as Dr. Nishan told, you have got a very good opportunity. Like if you are in IIT Bombay, you can you can take a space there at a very minimum price. Okay, and then you can start a company, you can hire people. So see here, here we have employed these people, and this is like 1 day in the job there. Yeah, and then COVID stuck. Okay, so that was a blessing in disguise to us. Okay, because first when COVID stuck, so we were like, oh god, the sales like gone down from the day when no one was really auscultating and these things. But we have a advantage, the Bluetooth app that we developed. Okay, so a doctor can auscultate from a far distance, and even from the PP kit, if you can see that. So that time you have to think out of the box, like how your device can work in this scenario. Okay, so where you have PP kit, and doctor still needs to auscultate, because for the COVID, lung sound are very important. Okay, so because if someone is having COVID, so they have wheeze and crackle in the starting, and what kind of wheeze, it is a first stage or second stage or third stage. So all these things will be, captured using a device. So actually, the doctor has to go near to the patient, but because of COVID restriction, he can't go. So he give this module that we have made, okay, without the end, okay, to the patient, okay, and ask the patient to keep in his chest or at the back, and doctor is at a far distance, 6 feet away, and then he auscultate, okay. So this was a new use case, okay. And then, if you can see here, there are, we got a, mail from, Sion hospital that, it'll be of great use, and these kind of infographics were made, okay. And this is like a use case of the device, yeah. So I just wanted to inform you. So with Bluetooth headset and mobile and this thing, we were able to turn around this thing in, couple of month, okay. So this was like, you have to be constantly on the, toe, and you have to think what is the use case. So some, like, there could be other company like, okay, now there's a COVID, now we can't sell, like, we just have to, sit down and see when this will go off. So but you have to constantly think like, how, what is the use case, how it can be applied, okay. Yeah. So this is like, this is a updated slide. So now if you can see, there are 5,000 units we have sold, and now we are in talk with a lot of people, like Reliance is there, Geo is there, and there are Apollo, they are buying our device. Okay, so yeah, so till this point in time, 5,000 units we have sold, and now we have, software as a service. Okay, because once you sold the device, it is gone, but then you don't get any money on the top of it. Okay, so now we have a software as a service. Okay, uh, uh, so someone is asking what is ASP means, like
average selling price.
Okay. So it is around 20 to 25K. Yeah, the cost of the device. Yeah, it is 20 to 25K. Yeah. Yeah, so these are the places where it is deployed. Right now, it is there in UK and US also, and Japan also, but we have not put it right now. Yeah. Yeah, so these are like some newspaper clippings, yeah, but yeah, so it is very important that whenever we have, some, media person coming in, Professor Ravi's make sure that we are there, not, because it helps in, like perceive that, so the people who are working, not that just the prof. Okay, so these things really helped us, and, during COVID times, there were a lot of, media coverages, and actually it boosted our sales a lot. Yeah, these are some of the media coverages. Yeah. So I think, Dr. Nishan, this is what, like, I wanted to say. Thank you for giving the opportunity to, speak in this forum. Yeah. Hope I inspired some of the students here to start a company, and, to do something great for our country. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, Tapas. So students, this is an amazing success story, great success story. Two non-IIT engineers coming from smaller towns in India, not from metro cities or anything, coming from relatively humble backgrounds, and just going through the step-by-step process that IIT was able to put together for them. Betik did, DSSE will do it for you if you, take the entrepreneurial route. And yeah, Professor Raj sir asked him the price. You know the multiplication based on the units sold. I presume Tapas has already made more money than he would have had he continued in his job. I think Tapas, you were with Intel before.
Yes. Yeah.
So he was really in a great position before he chose to join here. So great example. Also, look at the product. It's an advanced electromechanical product. So it's an advanced engineered product. It's also a soft as well as a hard product, meaning it has a digital aspect to it, non-digital aspect to it. So amazing example. Dr. Rupesh Gyar was in one of the photographs earlier. And he told me that, a movie can be made on this story. So maybe Tapas is already talking to Yashraj Films for Two Idiots, I guess, is what you will name the film eventually. So thank you, Tapas. What we will do is we'll open up for questions for students for 5 minutes. So I'm keeping a watch on the clock. Students, if you have any direct questions for Tapas, this would be the time to ask. So there is one question in the chat box. Could you share more details about how accurate and sensitive is the stethoscope for murmurs, abnormal heart sounds between the normal heart sounds? And this is from a medical doctor. Dr. Anup Shahji is also a part of our class.
Yeah. So the sensitivity and specificity of the device is 98%. Okay. So like to give you the exact number, but if you want more details, I can give. But sensitivity and specificity of cardiac arrest, yeah, for detection of abnormal heart and lung sounds.
So students, any more questions, please unmute yourself and ask. And this is the time to ask directly to a successful entrepreneur. Or you can also chat, type in the chat box.
Yeah, one area that I would like the students to focus on is since we are learning about the importance of developing the value proposition, uh, take a look at what the product's value propositions are and the customers that they have found, right, for the thing. So, and try to do the matching between pains, gains, and things like that. So take a look at that chart and ask questions that that'll explain why this product gained acceptance so quickly, why the target market fix. I mean, the target market fix happened fairly quickly within a year or so for the team, right? So you can see that on this value proposition canvas, the products and services on the left hand side are matching with the customer really well, because look at the way he's, I think, did you start selling it in 2019 or before that?
2018 we started, yeah, sir.
Yeah, and basically the momentum, did it grow because of, obviously it grew because of COVID, but did your Bluetooth device really, was it the one that really took off?
Yeah. So in the starting, we have two segment. One is telemedicine company. So there they were not interested in this Bluetooth thing because they just wanted a device to send the data from one point to other. But then there are separate customers like a doctors or a pulmonologist or a cardiac doctor. So they were interested in this. But as a B2B segment, not Bluetooth is not required, but B2C. So it was required. Yeah.
Okay. So Tapas, if you can just look at the chat and answer some questions, that'll be great.
Sure. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So with that, thank you, Tapas. With that, I will invite the other entrepreneur, Sai Hemant Manchela, to address the students. Another very advanced, exciting product. From what I understand, these are the kind of products that have great social impact. In our work activities, we should try to eliminate work that is either most challenging or is not as rewarding or may be looked down upon by others. And I think Sai has done exactly that. So Sai, could you please take over from here? Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening. I hope I'm audible all right.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, great. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Professor Raj and Professor Nishant, for giving me this podium and the opportunity. So maybe I'll just quickly share my screen to sort of just take them through a bit of this thing. Is this visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Very quick brief about what Janyutech Technologies is as of today. We focus in three major areas. One is shop floor, commercial non-shop floor applications. So we have robots for hazardous environments, particularly for sludge cleaning, disinfection kind of activities. And we have robots for large solar farms, where we have machines going around cleaning these large solar panels. That is one major area. Then we have industrial automation, where we provide turnkey robotic arm-based automation solutions for process industry, manufacturing industry, process industry, metal industry, etc. And then we have defense as the category, where we provide systems for armed forces as well as DPSUs, defense public sector units in the major this thing. So in each of these areas, we do have some marquee customers like Azure Power, Tata Renewables, and Adani and ABG for solar. Similarly, in the industrial automation, we have Aditya Birla Group, various companies of Aditya Birla Group like Hindalco, Grasim, Ultratech, then Owens Corning, which is a multinational company, US based multinational company, Tata Steel, some of them. Then defense, it's primarily the government as well as DPSUs, Bharat Electronics Limited, etc. So some of the products, just to quickly highlight, this is a solar panel cleaning system where currently we have mounted on a tractor a robotic arm to clean the panels. Then this is this is from Vistara flight, the cabin area being disinfected by UV based robotic systems. Then these are the sludge cleaning robots which we use for various kinds of confined spaces in the industry, in commercial complex, in municipal areas we are just getting into. Then the in the industrial automation segment, where we use existing robotic arms from makes like Yaskawa or ABB, and we integrate a overall solution, turnkey solution, wherein we are particularly focusing on the end of the line packing, palletization kind of automations, which are currently predominantly dealt by highly unskilled workforce, which becomes a bottleneck because it is a the stock gets entered as more as a work in progress than a finished good, just because this area is stuck with people, whereas production machines have high capacities and end of the line is usually a bottleneck in completing the dispatches in most industries. So that's a major focus. As well as in the industrial automation, we also have in Hindalco or Ultratech, where we are doing some hot metal area robotics for particularly aluminum ingot skimming kind of operations we are doing there. Into defense, we have primarily three main categories or classes of machines: small throwable system, then a tactical mission system, and a larger UGV which is under development. So we, as of today, if we see, long story short, it is more like we identify specific niches in specific areas, and we look at the overall impact we are going to have in that industry with that particular product line, and we try to develop deep product line into that. Wherein the initial orders, initially it used to be us developing, now we charge for the development as well, and later expand the market. And we are introducing or rather have been doing robots as a service, wherein it changes the model from a capex to a opex model for the customer, as well as robotic operators or the service and maintenance activities are being done by our skilled people. So industry, it becomes easier to adopt for the industry as well. So this is broadly where we are. So now coming to the story part of it, I thought maybe I'll just describe this whole thing in a series of videos. I'll just go along as we hope this is visible, right? So is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is where we initially started. You can see, in fact, the transit building in the background here in IIT Bombay, wherein in 2015 September roughly, I had gone to Naxal affected areas, Jagdalpur, Sukma, Sarkeguda, and places like that in Chhattisgarh. And CRPF had a requirement. CRPF is one of the largest paramilitary forces. They had a requirement for IED detection and disposal robots. So we started our work around that, wherein DSCE had supported us for the POC, as well as NCTIS, which is just in the same block as DSCE office is in Monash building. And we were predominantly placed out of the DSE professor room in transit building. I hope Professor Rajaswa recollects the kind of visits where once we were purely designing, and then he saw parts being scattered around, and then he saw an assembly in 3 different instances when he used to come to India. So we did occupy a large part of his office and made life a bit uncomfortable for him during that patch. Uh, so this was, I mean, it was from 2015 to 2016 June or so, we were not really incorporated. So 29th June 2016, I presented my master's dissertation, and 30th of June, we received the company incorporation certificate from Registrar of Companies. And it so happened that when I had started, I started with two more IITians who are both are my juniors, 1 year junior, and one very senior person around 52 odd then, who had a lot of experience into the whole industry and entrepreneurship and running companies, running listed companies, etc. So we had started like that, borrowed the lab from DSE in the transit building, and this particular trial, what you are seeing, is around February of 2017, where we were giving demonstrations to the then DG CRPF and the IG CRPF, etc. So based on this, we received, I mean, we thought we'd get an order immediately, but the government procedures, and also we got a LOI, and looking at that, we got a sign, saying that, okay, we can incubate you. But while all this was going on, we had no revenues or no ways of really supporting the team or paying the younger folks. I mean, people who were along, we had even hired a few people, because this requires, this kind of systems require a larger team. It is not 1 or 2 people. And this also requires not just technology and engineering, but manufacturing, vendor management, vendor development, vendor management, procurements. Then, once we have a certain number of people, then, you need to run it as an organization, not as a lab, or not as a student team. So I did have the experience of running a student team in IIT. So initial days, I was running it more like a student team, so that didn't really work out. So we had to have more discipline bringing in. So with all this, but still continuing in IIT campus, things didn't really work out, because there were others, the job placements were going on. So the two co-founders almost left by, you can say, 2017 mid. The co-founders from IIT left, and also we had, because of all this, sign at that point backed out, and I literally had nowhere to go. There was also a lot of pressure from home as to what was happening and where I was going. So we took a space in Vasai, wherein we used to manufacture all our components in Vasai, being an engineering cluster here. So we took a call and took a place in Vasai, some 800 square feet level office, come assembly area. So in transit building, it was a 150 square feet or 200 square feet level office. From there, we moved here. Then we started hiring some more people, because the team at IIT was more comfortable being at IIT. And we did continue this product line up to almost December 2017. We had a major fire accident in September, October 2017, wherein we lost all the the entire machine which we had made. The motors were burnt, the PCBs were burnt into ashes, and I had spent 2017 Diwali literally whitewashing my entire factory area. But we somehow gathered together to put out a machine by December 2017. We again saw, with all the trials, the LOI was not converting into a PO anytime soon. And we had already submitted one zero revenue balance sheet, 2016, 2017. And we saw that, we were not really going to make any revenues in 2017, 2018 as well. And we didn't want that to go like that forever in an eternal research mode or anything. So then we started looking out at other possible applications. We all this thing was clear that we are primarily into robots for hazardous, non-conducive work environment. So we used to do a lot of brainstorming while the product development was happening for defense as to what are the other industries like oil and gas, chemical, offshore structures, shipbuilding. So all these things. So we started approaching BPCL, HPCL, IOCL through their startup programs back then. So somehow we could get to some contractor. Of course, the government companies, again, BPCL, IOCL, they took their own time, but we could get to some contractor of Reliance who was really interested in the machine for cleaning their crude oil tanks in, crude oil tanks in refineries of Reliance particularly. So that's when we went about, just a second. So that's when we went about making a machine for crude oil, storage tank cleaning. So there's a lot of sludge inside. This is highly hazardous kind of environments. So this is how we started making, where this product went through quite a number of iterations through the clients. So there was always a version 1 which was sold to a client 1. Then when a new client comes in, we have few more additions from the learnings, and we would also try to make it up to the previous client to kind of pass on the learnings. So in fact, this happened to be the first such system to be put into a crude oil tank in the country. There are some Italian and German alternates, but we see that this is the first machine and the only machine as of today in the country to go into this kind of environments. This product really gave us a lot of mileage, in the sense several contractors took it, and then we ourselves, we saw that the contractors were able to do and not able to do at the same time. They were able to get the orders showing the machine but not able to execute the orders. They would call us to execute the order, the service order. So we said we would rather have a machine of our own, and we will do it as a service. So that's when we went into robot as a service, serving Hindalco, Grasim, IOCL, Aarti Industries, dealing with different types of sludge, hazardous, harmful types of sludge, and so making different forms of this. Now our systems are to this level where we also do online cleaning as a solution. So this is the kind of sludge or the muck that comes out. I hope that is visible to you. So previous to this machine, and places where we don't use this, people go into these crude oil tanks and literally shovel these out, or take the suction pipe and go to different locations and shovel these out. So we had a good experience with the whole machines, but robot as a service by itself was not really helping us sustain with the top lines. So it's really good when you have the capacity to expect a ROI over, say, 2 years, 3 years or so, because initially we wouldn't be getting large turnkey service jobs. We are doing 10 lakh, 5 lakh kind of jobs and going about it. But the team to run this whole thing, the expenses would be, monthly we'll be having around 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs is a basic salary expense. So there's no way we can do only robot as a service and only look at very innovative products. We'll have to go with product lines wherein we'll be able to have regular sustenance, or where things move. We don't really wait for some miracle to happen or something like that. So we went about taking industrial automation projects, and we didn't really have the expertise to do that, but at the same time we were able to merge the operations of automation control technology from Singapore, wherein the promoter happens to be ex-IIT Madras alumni, and he's a 1984 batch IIT Madras alumni. And so through that, we started delivering this kind of solutions. So you can see one of that in the video, I believe. So this is actual commissioned unit And this was commissioned, in fact, during the COVID period. There are other projects, but I'm just showing the one that probably might look a lot of movements and stuff like that. So this is glass fiber yarn bobbins, each weighing around 25-30 kg. And when we were doing this is when we realized that there are a good number of products in the industry which are weighing 25 kg or above, and they need a constant end of the line packing, palletization, or semi-finished goods has to be converted to a finished goods. So in all these areas, we see robotic arms and based automation. It was really good. So we started, and we currently focus this for either the large weight segment of product line, or particularly in pharma and FMCG area, where the environment is something where you should not have a lot of people, whereas because of the production capacities of machines running say 300 blisters per minute or 400 blisters per minute, and people cannot really handle, you literally have a group of 12 people working per shift just to pack the outcome which is coming in. So we are doing this kind of machinery now. That is something. So we got this Owens order around 2020, but there was this patch between 2019 to 2020, something like that, when it was kind of, we were more on robot as service, cash was dry. So we started looking at monetizing some of the work that we did long back, because after December 2017, I had to call up CRPF and tell that we don't have resources until you support for further development or improvement or anything. So we'll come back when we have some money. So we took that up. We said, let's identify, let's see if there comes an opportunity in the defense sector. So opportunity came in a different way, where MS Astra Microwave Products Limited, it's a listed company, been into defense electronics and space grade electronics for last 35 years. So they felt that, they are primarily into subsystems like radars and electronic warfare equipment. They felt that robot is a holistic solution or a system. So they wanted to get into a system level product. So we have a strategic investment from them, a minor stake, however, but that investment did come through as a lot of help during that patch where it was really dry, particularly 2020 initial days, where we had the COVID situation growing, and then suddenly there was lockdown. In fact, we had the kind of situation where the term sheet was signed. However, they could not go to their office to execute certain mandatory SEBI guidelines to actually disburse the money. So even after the term sheet is signed, we are waiting for 20 days to get the money. So and everywhere it's a lockdown. There's a panic in the vendors, there's a panic in the employees. So it's a real tough situation to handle, to even sleep peacefully during that period. However, that happened parallelly, and we looked at where we can really go now, like only hospitals are open or this kind of things are open. So we saw that DRDO was making this Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel COVID center in Delhi. So we said, okay, we let us make this crawlers into a remotely operated medical supplies unit, and we supplied this to DRDO. We could get some connects and extended the product line. In fact, during that period, Professor B. Ravi was also suggesting that we should get into a UV based disinfection product. So we tied up with a UVC lamp. So UVC lamp is critical element when we talk about UV production. UV based products, that's the key. Philips, and there are some companies which have these lamps, but they did not have the supplies, or they were not sufficient enough for certain disinfection grades. So we went with a Pune based company. Again, it was another IIT Bombay alumni, and he was, I think, the first batch pass out from IIT Bombay. He's a 75, 80-year-old senior who said that, okay, let us work together on this. They've been making UVC certified lamps for over 20 years. So we took those lamps and we put it on machines like this, which would go and disinfect offices. This is in a Air India SATS cabin. So all the Vande Bharat mission flights ran with UVC disinfection up along with the HEPA filters and the other things that they were using anyways. And in some of the flights, the captain even announced that the cabin area is disinfected with UV lamps up to 19.99% kind of disinfection. Now here again, we did another mistake where we said, okay, now this is going to boom, and we spent a lot on the product iteration, all changing from metal body to plastic body, optimizing the electronics, reducing the weight, and a lot of those things. However, the market did not catch up to the extent that we thought. So we literally set up a assembly line for this, but that didn't really catch up. However, the fact that one, we are open during the lockdown period, and we had a vendor network which we could open up with the DRDO support, and the fact that we had this kind of assembly line kind of capability. So we expanded from a 800 square feet in 2019 to a 2000 square feet, and then to do all these assemblies and the Owens Corning kind of bigger orders. The arm, what you saw, is a 1 ton weight arm. The arm weighs 1 ton with a reach of 3 meters and a payload of 180 kg. So it's like an elephant's trunk moving around. So you need a real big space. You can't do these projects in a small space. And you are dealing with a lot of people. You are in an industrial area, so you have starting from the local corporators to everyone coming in, seeing what is going on here. And we are dealing with right from PhDs to sort of uneducated kind of people to some extent, and fitters, and all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of age groups. So so this didn't fly through very well, but seeing this capability and the bandwidth what we had, we could get through some real good orders in solar with large clients. So I'll just show that. Yeah, so we could get through some big orders from clients like Azure Power, Tata Renewables, ABG Solar, Adani. So this kind of companies for solar panel cleaning. So currently they have most robots. If we just type solar panel robot in YouTube, we get systems where they are module mounted or panel mounted, one machine per row. But that works well for rooftop solar. But when we talk about large farms, say 100 megawatt, 150 megawatt or 100 megawatt is a unit of plant for the larger players who are owning several gigawatts of installation. So for them, installing 600 to 1000 machines for one 100 megawatt plant, and then maintaining it, all this becomes a big fuss. And also the kind of returns doesn't really work out, because the modules, the undulations of the terrain, the local conditions and other things, and once installed, you can't really change the layouts much. So all these things, it's not primarily made with a forget a robotic cleaning. The initial solar farms were never even built with a mindset to clean them or maintain them. They never felt that cleaning would be so essential. So this system what we have provided is able to do almost 10 to 12 machines, rather even more, 10 to 12 machines on an average of the other type. We are able to deliver with this kind of robotic arm. This is a 4-axis servo controlled robotic arm doing this. So here we have some good traction going on. However, this is another big struggle, in the sense the terrain is not something conducive for going and operating there, testing there. And we are dealing with industrial clients where every day matters, where every rupee counts. We cannot ask them for endless supports and things like that. So product iteration cycles have to be real fast. And we have a lot of competitors coming in and looking at the machine once it's out. So that has been going on. So 2021 year, we were able to, I mean, FY 2020, 2021, we were able to close at around 4.5, 4.6 CR level revenue. Though we were expecting we'll cross 10 CR, the capex cycles didn't really go through with the whole COVID thing. But 2021, up to almost second quarter of 2021, 22 orders were a little dry, half of the second quarter. But then we had, towards the end of 2021, we had MOU with Aditya Birla Group as their technology partner for robotics and related innovations. So that opened up a lot of gates for us into Hindalco, into Ultratech, into Grasim, into a lot of their areas. So we are now able to talk about very solid revenue from ABG itself, as well as from the products like solar and sludge cleaning, wherein we are also we are also exporting to Middle East some of our product lines. We tried exporting to Canada, but somehow we couldn't get through the whole process. It was just too costly. We said we'll give it a try another time once we have a little more money. So this is what you can say in all. And uh, key learnings, so to say, I would say for me, one of the very important thing was that team definitely is something that I mean, probably initially I was very passionate about the product. And in one of the meetings with Professor Jashet, so we had, I mean, he asked, are you passionate about the product business? What would you do? So I was naive and I said, I'm passionate about the business. I'm looking at this, that. Probably he told me later that, you shouldn't be so passionate about a product. You should be passionate about, or rather you should look at it like a business. You may have 3-4 product lines. You have to see which one is giving you the cash. So ultimately I realized it took some time and a lot of beating to realize that cash flows matter the most, irrespective of how good the ideas, how good the connects or anything. Cash flows matter. And the team that will stick around when you don't have that kind of cash flows, whether it is at a founder co-founder level or at an execution level, that kind of a team overall we need to build. Because when the lockdown was announced, we had a 7-8 member team in one of the jobs in Gale, Vijaypur in Madhya Pradesh. They were stuck in middle of nowhere, and we had to hold them for a month and a half in a hotel there, and they did not even have the food supplies to the hotel. The Gale people raised hands, everybody raised hands. These people ultimately figured out a way, and in the meantime we were of course doing the DRDO work and other things. So they came back, instead of cribbing, they said, okay, now let's join in. And some of them did not even know assembly of machines. They were pure service people. They said, no, let's jump in, let's do double shift, and let's just whatever is selling, let's just first sell that, let's roll it out. So team is not just at a top level but every level. Similarly, finance, I think one big thing that probably my background or my family background or anything, it didn't really teach me finance. It taught me probably some mathematical skills or other things, but finance, particularly how do you mobilize finance, it need not always be in equity form. We feel these days, a lot of people, I see a lot of my friends also, companies hardly 6 months and it has already raised $6 million, $10 million at some obscene valuations, and I don't know where they are going. I mean, at the end of that valuation, as a promoter, you are nothing. You are literally a puppet in your board. You don't have a say. So what I mean, I don't know what is the purpose of such I mean, yes, monetary benefits definitely they at a personal level we may have, but when we are talking about some serious businesses where we are probably changing the way certain activities are being done historically, I think the customers look at a long standing kind of character rather than somebody who would want to make a quick buck and get out. So at least in our line of business, so that really matters, because in some of the tenders that we fill, we have to declare the spare part cost for 10 years. 10 years we are declaring a spare part cost today. So the customer expects that you will at least live next 10 years to supply that spare part. So that's the kind of this thing. So we see people that we're working with, say Japanese like Mitsubishi or Yaskawa, their way of working, they're all 150-year-old companies. So we get into not money making for today, we get into a mode of institution building for generations to come. I think that is where, because I also probably, I'll just share this one screen, which brings about why this mentality. Probably this is more because of the people whom we have along, wherein I'm the youngest in the board as well as among everyone. And here the board members are not investor board members, they are more executive directors. Everybody has an active role, daily role. So Mr. Abhimanyu Raja, who has been with me from day zero, rather even before that, when I was in college, just coming in, he came for a half an hour meeting, but he spent 6 hours to just fill out a Eureka form, some E-Cell conducts a Eureka competition. He just felt that there is a need, and we just spent along, and that's how we started. I literally had a sort of a Gurukul kind of a thing with him, where I used to live with him at his home. He would cook for the both of us after a day-long activity, and we would be discussing all sorts of activities. So this kind of learning, what we get, the kind of wisdom that gets passed on, I think that was possible, wherein he treated me not just like a executive or a co-founder, but that he felt a holistic growth is important. Similarly, Mr. Satish Betatpur, he's, I mean, CNBC and other channels invite him to give his opinion on several stocks and things like that. And the kind of candid discussions what we have on various aspects really gives me kind of opens up my eyes to many things. Then Harish Patakji, he is another IIT Bombay alumni, but he has spent 35 years with Tata's. He started as a management trainee engineer, but he ended up with Tata Steel as the MD of joint venture between Tata Steel and BlueScope Steel, which is Australian giant, Tata BlueScope. He was the MD of that joint venture, running a 5,000 crore capex greenfield project, bringing it to profitability. Similarly, Tata Autocomp, which is a subsidiary of Tata Sons, growing it from around 2,000 crore company to a 12,000 crore company, within the Tata system of things, which is quite a challenge. So he is with us, and I report to him in a way regarding the marketing and sales activities. And kind of people, what I've seen is they come down to the minute details. Even today, he wouldn't hesitate coming along with me for a negotiation if need be, or he wouldn't mind coordinating a few activities when I say, sir, I have work to do in that area. I know I haven't given you a previous background, but I need you to cover me for this meeting. Please do. So he'll just do that. So they need not do that from their stature or from their background, but probably because of the interactions that we were able to build, the relation we were able to build, they have that kind of this thing. And for some of our strategic areas, we have Dr. Hegde, Dr. Aditya Paranjpe. In fact, this is a thing where I did my master's under Dr. Aditya Paranjpe, and for one of the space-related consultancy projects, we still, Dr. Paranjpe is still helping us or working with us at Genu. So that's it. And you can see the rest of the team also, Mr. P.D. Mani or Rajeshji or Sendilji and Vardrajanji, Pramita Madam, Ajitji, all these people. So I am literally, the kind of team is age group wise also. We have people in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So what I have understood over time is, I used to be a lot aggressive when I was in IIT with my teammates or anything. So when we have this kind of wide variety of people having families, having backgrounds, different this thing. I think as a person overall, there's a lot that I have learned through this journey. But definitely as a venture, one major point I will just repeat that cash is the king. No matter what, we cannot ignore the cash part of the business. Rest of all things we can do. So, we have to maintain the diplomacies and everything, but cash, we don't, at least I did not have the wisdom or knowledge of cash imparted either through my family or through my education system. It took a good 3.5 years for me to really learn how to get cash to the company, which is, I think, the most important job one has to do as a co-founder. And coming to the part of being an IITian, I mean, I really think it does matter and it doesn't matter also. It's a positive and negative thing. It opens the doors for sure when we say we do a cold call and say, hi, I'm so and so, I'm a IIT graduate. It does work good only up to that extent. It does not help us close any deal, number one. Number two, in many cases, it becomes a counterproductive thing if you say you are a IITian or coming from a big college or something like that, because they feel you do not understand business, particularly business in India, whether it is government sector or private sector. They feel you are a theoretical guy or techie guy in some plane. You don't know basics of what happens after your product is out. You don't know how to do customer support, and the most important thing is they ask you, when are you running off to US, or are you going to sell off your company? So we should probably be dealing with another set of people. We don't know how long your company will last. So it took us a good 4 or 5 years to really come to the point where we can talk. Average deal is say 25-30 lakhs of a machine. So that's a big money, whether it is Indian standard or foreign standard. 20-30 lakhs is a big money, and a couple of the projects that we delivered are around 3 to 4 crore a single project spanned over 2 years. But that's a big money, the kind of risk that they are taking. And one important thing is we will be asked for such projects bank guarantees. So bank guarantees really pushed us towards banking. We didn't want to use up all equity to put as a collateral for bank guarantee, and that will make no sense. You're just using your equity as working capital. Probably why? There are banks. If you are assured of the return, we should go to the bank. So that's how we went to the bank. We pursued, we used our connects wherever possible. All the seniors come into picture there, and we could get a good support from IDBI under the CGTMSE scheme. So we could use that scheme, and today they look at us as a very, very key customer account. Though our revenue is very small, they do invite us to their annual key customer meets, and the kind of access that we are able to have to their CGMs or EDs who explain. Or I mean, of course, we do have a banking team. Mr. Vardarajan has been there, but the kind of importance that they're able to give to us, I think the team has played a role. And just the fact that we have lived through this whole deal and have this kind of clientele like Hindalco's or Tata's, they're all really difficult to get convinced to park this kind of monies. Now, in some of the deals, we are able to get through some multi-crore orders without a bank guarantee, purely on corporate guarantee. So it's just a piece of paper that we guarantee the money. So that's the kind of trust level that we're able to build into our customers, as well as our vendors. On the other side, we have vendors in Mitsubishi or Yaskawa who extend 180-day LC kind of credit lines for us, which as of today, no other companies are, I mean, very minimal companies are able to get to that kind of a listing. So there are several departments in a company. No single department, I think, can become 360 degrees of a company. Everybody relies on other. I mean, we are all dependent on another part of the company. So as far as we understand that, I think an organization runs well So ups and downs do happen. I don't think, that's there for Geo or Reliance, and that's there for us. The ups and downs keep happening. Probably creating a safety net, a bare minimum safety net, is something that one can work on. Particularly the initial years will be really, really hard, when we don't have the wisdom. We are having all friends around. We see all the newspaper ads talking about big time fundraisers. uh, Probably there we have to hold ourselves as to what we want to be. It's not about, no two stories are just the same. So no two companies are just the same, then one is redundant. So probably we should really ask ourselves as to what is our criteria in life, not just now 1 2 years, but 10 years 20 years down the line, and see, okay, maybe it doesn't mind in the long span. I can, go drive for 2 months 3 months, and just let me just sustain this patch. There's a bad patch, let me sustain it. Let me work hard on how to come out with better this thing. So strategize in that way. So strategies are always a little long term, but tactics wise we have to play the tactics on a daily basis, whether it is managing people, managing client, managing vendor. So everywhere you have a different tactic to play depending on the various this thing. These skills definitely are needed. There is no two ways about it. You can't just raise money, or you can't just talk about fundraisers and say, okay, company is established. It doesn't work like that. I think the skill, until we get that skill, or we have people who have that skill and also executing, they may have the skill but they may not be really implementing that skill. So I think we really need to mature ourselves from a student era or a student age to running a professional organization. So probably I'll open it up. Nishantji, you can,
Yeah, thank you, Sai. Thank you for the very inspirational story. Two, three things that I would like to point out from both stories. One is these are all made in India, advanced products made by Indians entirely, and amazing success stories in spite of all the difficulties and odds that were stacked up against them. Number two, I think both products were optimized all along from all possible perspectives: materials perspectives, mechanical perspectives, electronic perspectives, efficiency perspectives. A lot of it using in-depth knowledge as well as some common sense, which you will do for your products as you go along. And third thing is the way they pivoted during COVID. Both of them were able to come up with better versions of their same products and make themselves more important in during COVID situation, in spite of the challenging market situation that was that has been existing since the COVID days have begun. So thank you so much, both of you. We are still open for questions. I think you should continue typing questions in the chat box. Both of them would be happy to answer them. And I'll request Professor Raj to take over from here.
Yeah, thanks, Sai and Tapas. you know, uh, Clearly different entrepreneurial stories. And what I find very amazing is, let's go to Sai's case, because I kind of know that case study much more intimately since Sai was a student in the same TVC course about 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years ago. And, as he said, he was using my office to do his CAD work and assemble that first robot for the DoD. And then, over the last 6 years, we meet every year or two, or at least have some sort of a chat. So I've been pretty, but this is the first time I kind of saw the whole thing come together. And it just shows you, how many moving parts there are, not only in a robot, but in a real company. And the parts that are moving in a company are people, are employees, customers, investors, and a whole bunch of other things are moving all the time. And Sai obviously has become very, very mature. I mean, he said some amazing sentences where he said that strategy is good for the long term, but you're continuously solving situations on a daily basis and on all fronts, right? So on all activities, you're solving these problems. So this is what a real startup is, guys. I mean, and you are so lucky that you're getting straight from the horse's mouth what a real startup looks like, and it's a working startup. And maybe at some point Sai can host all the students of this group at his company, since
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
because there is seeing a pitch and listening to Sai is one thing, but then actually going there and actually seeing everything going on and watching it in real life, you don't get that opportunity. So I hope everyone takes an opportunity when we do a field visit to Sai's factory. So if we can do it in the next 4 to 6 weeks, that'll be great. Prasanna,
More than
yeah,
welcome, sir. More than welcome.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
I'll work with Sai to organize this.
Yeah, we should do that because there is something that you learn by being out of the building, right? It's like what we talked about in entrepreneur's mindset. You can't be just sitting in your office. You got to go out and see the real world. And with Sai, we are so lucky that our own student is got this company going. And if IU Devices has got a factory somewhere, we would love to see your factory too, Tapas. So is there
Sure,
a
sure.
factory or something that we can see? Or
So it isn't Kurla, it is more kind of a, assembly. So right now we are doing like outsourcing is in Mysore. Okay, so there are a lot of contract thing like where you outsource like make 1,000 pieces for us, like GE, Siemens, or these big companies, they outsource to these companies. So we are actually outsourcing this because it saves cost and time and all the
sure,
resources. Yeah.
yeah.
So first, initially we were making here in Kurla. Okay, but then the cost of the operation and all these things came into picture, and testing and QC thing. So then we got to know who is the best company to make this. So we got to know that all these big medical devices company, be it Siemens, GE, Philips, okay, so they outsource to a single company. Okay, so the main thing is to know that company and make a good contact, but they want a bulk order. Yeah, so we are doing it in Mysore right now.
Okay, great. Yeah, so so field visit we will arrange. So that's one thing. Um, the other important thing that you can see from Sai's case study is, and actually even Tapas's, is that they're continuously pivoting to real world changes in the marketplace. I mean, Sai talked about pivoting on the business model. He went from sales to uh, slush cleaning as a service, or robotics as a service. And then he found that the finances are not working out, so then he went out to some other model. And then so the thing is that then he formed partnerships. So there is continuous evolution of the business model year by year, maybe sometimes even a couple of times in a year, and so on. And if once you hit something that's working, then you scale it up, right? So you keep trying, then when something hits, then you scale up. So, and then one thing that really impressed me, because I was there when he got the first DoD prototype contract for 20 lakhs or something, right? When you first got the very first prototype that you did. And then everybody's excited, the generals are excited, etc. And then you said that you know months go by and the order is not coming in order is not coming in, and you got your top line is zero because how long can you just and at that point you've decided to put it on hold and look for other opportunities, and where you came up with this clutch cleaning opportunity. And but it doesn't mean that that opportunity went away. It's got a different cycle of business. And you went back and you seem to have broken into the defense industry. And the defense industry might be slow, but guess what? It's actually a very, very profitable uh, customer segment. My brother actually, he's also an entrepreneur. He's an IT guy too, and he's got a company in Bangalore, and he does equipment for kind of the aerospace industry, and it's also in the defense business. And he builds some parts. I think they are like power supplies or something that are needed, and essentially they have a long cycle of development, evaluation, acceptance, etc. But once the orders start coming in for the next 20 years, he's going to basically make money by selling the same thing as every plane gets retrofitted with his equipment, right? So, so the thing is that different industries have got different cycles, different ways of doing business, and with Sai, you're seeing a person who can handle many, many different kinds and personalities of businesses. So, to me, it was a riveting presentation. I really got a lot out of it. But right now, and everything that you heard in these two cases will make so much sense once we go to the business model canvas, which is in the next class or the class after that. But you'll see how all the parts of the company come together, and they have to work together in order for this company to succeed. So does anybody have any questions that you would like to ask personally, or yes? So
Yeah. So
So,
this.
sir,
yeah.
so actually, I want to know how you, like from both of you, how you convince your first potential or big customer that you can serve. Because in some of the cases, even we convince them that we are giving a good services, but they ask that what is your turnover. So based on that, they close the deal. So you guys also faces the same issues, and how you deal if you faces the groups.
To answer that, I think the first client is never based on the product or the service or anything. The real deal closure happens based on the trust level on the individual or the team that is selling it. No, you are literally selling yourself. That I stand guarantee no matter what happens. If something goes haywire, you hold my neck, no problem. I am here. I'm not running away. That is what I think the first sale will happen only that way. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, no matter what product line you are in my opinion, the first sale is not sale of the product or service. It's you selling yourself, your trust.
Okay. So how the things come about the bank check or the like giving the assurance that
No, I
you.
think, see, once the client is ready to place an order, right, just
Okay,
take the PO in whichever way he's ready to give, right?
okay, okay,
Don't first order, you just take it. Somebody is ready to part with their money. You shouldn't think much. Should just grab it in whichever way it comes and run,
okay,
right?
okay.
Don't think too much. There are 1,000 ways. You go to your CA, he will arrange another company which will give
To
a
follow.
guarantee based on this order.
Okay,
After that PO, you go to that CA, or they may say, sir, my company cannot give a guarantee. This company will give a guarantee. You just place the
okay,
order onto them. They will give a back-to-back order on me. There are 1,000 ways of doing that. That's minute aspect. Just get the order. Getting the order is the difficult thing.
Yeah, totally.
okay,
Good.
that was.
Excellent point. Yeah, This is exactly what I have done, and that's exactly what every entrepreneur has done that today is successful.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions for Sai or
I have
Thomas?
a question for Sai.
Yeah.
So my question is more on the operational front. Like as you said that, uh, so there was a time when revenue wasn't there, and yet developing a hardware plus software product there to the complexity of UVs and robotics and all. So like, what was the motivation for the employees, or basically the people whom you had hired to work beyond? So were they on salary plus equity, or
Nothing. They see, everybody is on salary, and they know that. I mean, we are usually a fairly transparent organization when we are young, right? People know what orders you are getting, what is the value. By default, the team knows around 30, 40 people, 20, 30 people. When your organization is as small as that, you can't really hide much, and it's better to not try to hide much in these areas. They know that, this is about the basic existence or sustenance of the company. They know that, outside they go now, they may not find a job. That is also there. They have their own existential crisis, and they know there may be, 1 or 2 months salary dues also pending. So, all of that come together. You picture the exact same thing in reality and say, look, I think this can work. This is the order we got. Let us just execute it. Let us talk about, we'll worry about the rest of the things later. This is the order in hand. Let's just do it. So you don't get into equities, this, that, nothing motivates. That's all future hope, right? If the company itself is not alive, what they'll do with that piece of share?
no?
Nothing.
Basically, why I wanted to ask this question is again going back to Abdul's thing that basically like. So I also faced this thing that I had a co-founder, and then he's kind of now not much interested to this thing.
Leave him.
So
Ask him to drop.
Yeah.
Clear him instantaneously. Don't even try to convince.
yeah,
You cannot convince somebody to to take torture as a choice, right? You can't force someone to enjoy torture. So don't. Just let him live happily. No, he's
yeah.
happy otherwise. He's happy probably going home, getting married. अरे आपको क्या पड़ी है उसके जिंदगी में जाके जबरदस्ती का एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डालने का? नहीं करना.
No, like there are people who say that okay, if I get equity, I'll work. Something like
नहीं
that.
करना, नहीं करना. इक्विटी तब मिलेगा जब हमें लगेगा कि एक्चुअली यू आर लायक ऑफ इक्विटी, राइट? यू डोंट जस्ट गो अराउंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग इक्विटी लाइक व्हाट इज दैट, सोन पापड़ी बांट रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं है ना.
Hello, Sai. I really, love that idea. What you said that, I don't want to liquidate the equity, and even to the venture capitalist or, as a collateral for the banks. But just one thing, that when these 1 or 2 years and you are when you are a team of 70, 80, okay, and you still have a, operational cost of, you said around 15 lakhs or something, if I'm not
नहीं,
wrong.
that, now that is 30 lakh. Yeah.
Okay. So, but how do we manage those funds if we are not liquidating? Which I'm again,
See, if you are
completely
confident that
agreeing.
you are a long time player, there are options like you go ask for long term debt,
Okay.
not just institutional debt always. Individuals also give debt in some cases. There are NBFCs, if not banks. Now there is a very good option of NBFC,
Correct.
which business loan does not require a lot of collateral. It requires your order book. What are you needing your money
Yeah.
for? Is it working capital? Is it paying old dues? You have a clarity on that. Once you have a clarity on that, if there are order books, there are enough number of sources out in the market to fund you for the order book. Let them charge percentage. How does it matter?
Correct.
Okay, you will earn lesser profit. That's okay, no?
It will survive.
Initially, it is okay till the bank recognizes you, gives you limits, enhances limits without collateral. So that's you should be clear that that's going to take say 2 years, 3 years. So till then, I am ready to part with, say, bank charges 10%. I am ready to part with 16%, 18% interest. Doesn't matter. Extra 8% chalega na. I am not trying to run away today.
Correct.
मेरे को तो लंबे रास्ते में पैसा कमाऊंगा इतना, we should have that
And
profit.
I saw the team you had was, you know, very diverse and with very big names also. So even so that will definitely help in this, you know, procuring fund,
No,
I guess.
banks does not really care. Banks
Uh-huh.
go very objective. Now even worse, they look at the GST returns filed and they give you the limits,
Mhm.
right? So there's no, I mean, it's good and bad both ways. That you just
But
file the GST returns even if your customer hasn't paid you,
oh,
right? As long as you are blocking that invoice, at least you know, okay, I'm safe, right? But that's your earning. At the same time, if you do not understand that, how the system is working, without collateral, there is no loan.
correct.
So that
But
has to be worked
without
out.
the revenues, will the NBFC still provide you?
No, you need to have order books.
So in the
Initially, some grant, something, some angel, your
yeah,
brother living abroad or something,
yeah.
for whom maybe 10, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs will not be a pinching amount.
Mm-hmm.
And you should also not take money from people who are going to keep chasing you, mera paisa kidhar hai, mera paisa kidhar hai.
Correct.
Because 20, 30 lakhs, you will not be able to return so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to earn out of profit and give, right?
Yes,
So time
yes.
lagne wala hai na. So you select such kind of people and talk to them, and if you are able to convince them, well and good.
So unless and until we get traction, there's no funding coming in. So the initial.
Better not take, because otherwise, who are you making for? किसने पूछा है?
Mhm.
If a customer is आपको लग रहा है कि हाँ ये बिकने वाला है, तो कम से कम एक लेटर ऑफ इंटेंट तो ले सकते हो ना.
Exactly.
Ask for expression of interest, if not a PO. Ask for a conditional PO. There are so many letters that you can ask for, which will still serve as a reasonable collateral to a little risk-taking investor.
Yeah.
Not a bank, but definitely a little risk-taking investor. It is okay. I'm not talking about gamblers.
Professor Raj, if I can interrupt.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's 5 minutes past 9:30. If I think if it's okay with you, if there are students who have no questions and want to drop off,
One more
I guess it
question.
is. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, others can continue the conversation.
exactly. So people that have to leave,
But
feel free to leave.
before anyone leaves, let me just say two things. One is we have assigned mentors, so we will email or copy the respective mentor with the pitch deck. So please expect that email from us, and then you should write to those mentors and start bonding. I think you should schedule weekly meetings at least once, if not twice, with the mentors. One hour meeting or 2 half-hour meetings with the mentors. And I will also say this. I, I think for every team, the time right now is to focus on product development first, and then getting your first sale. If you do that right, all these financial things will fall in place, and there are people, there are organizations, entities who will make it fall in place if you are doing the right things that is expected as an entrepreneur. So with that, I think if there are people who don't have any questions and want to drop off, please you can do so. Others continue with the conversation. So we are still here.
Yeah, I just got a note from Professor Ramesh Yadav. So, who also teaches entrepreneurship now at BIT Sundari and was a serial entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. So Professor Ramesh, you wanted to make some comments and ask some questions. Unmute, please.
Yeah, just a quick comment actually, which I wanted to make here. Yeah, Tapas, when he started, one of the things which he said psyche of the customer. Psyche of the customer, and it is a stethoscope, not an MP3 player. I mean, that was so he immediately got the attention of the doctors. And of course, and of course, his presentation, you already talked about it, so I won't go into it. But with Sai, typical entrepreneur, not giving up during the financial challenges, which he went through so many ups and downs. Defense government contract, no, it looks good. He said that, but it took so long that he almost ran out of the money. But then he never gave a customer discount, which he did, and he used his network, and then he changed, pivoted from product to robot as services to automation control. And then as soon as he recognized the shortcoming in his product delivery, he immediately pivoted. Immediately, he did not stop, or he did not think too much. He said, I need to pivot. He recognized at the very early, within 2-3 years, that, what, cash flow matters. And he had the most of his team actually stick together during that month period, what he talked about. It is the trust. It is the trust of the Sai in the employees in the team which really did it. And he had the team performs and high performance at every level, because he was so transparent with the team. And then team building at every level. He did the team building at the founder. He did the team building at the founder, the key management, the employees, the board members, advisors, and everywhere. And I see that was a really a key to success, what he's doing. And then trust relationship which he has. That is the culture of his company. Trust not only with his employees, with his team members, but also with the customer, the vendors. And that is what his success is. Sai and Tapas, congratulations. I'm really thank you for sharing this. I myself have become much richer by sitting through your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, and your blessings.
Anybody else wants to ask a question verbally? Okay, so
Just a request, if we could, if the COVID situation goes, and can we have in-person lectures and also the field visit? It would be great. Just a request.
Yeah. No, I was planning to come there first week of February.
Nice.
And then this Omicron came along, and then every US airplanes and India, everybody's having different quarantine requirements, right? So I knew it was going to be a mess, but this one looked like it is peaking very fast, and I can see that things are going to change very rapidly in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And right now, tentatively, I'm planning to be there for at least 6 weeks from the last week of February or the first week of March onwards. So hopefully we'll do the field visit to Sai's factory. And I'm there. That'll be it'll be a lot of fun to together, and continue to have discussions in the bus, have discussions there and over a meal and so on. So that's where you really learn. You learn so much when you actually spend time together. And so thank you very much, Sai, for making that opportunity available to these students.
And if I can add, Professor Raj, for this course, I think from this point on, you will learn as much outside the class within your team as you will learn inside the class. I think this point on, team dynamics and product development really should be the key priorities to address individually.
Actually, I had enrolled for this course last year as well, 2021, but I dropped off because it was online, hoping that in my final semester it will become offline. And that's why I'm in a group of TVC 2021 as well, the WhatsApp group. I'm still there.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm just hoping this semester at least few lectures will get.
Yes, really planning to be there. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. thank you, everyone. And thank you in particular to Tapas and Sai for
Thank you.
doing some great entrepreneurial work. I'm so happy to see entrepreneurs tackling real world situations in a very difficult economic environment called India. You'll find that doing business outside India sometimes is probably a lot easier than in India. But if you can succeed in India, you know that you have the ability to be very successful outside the world. So yeah, just keep doing it. I think you guys are off to a great
Thank you,
start.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, thank you,
Okay.
Tapas and Sai, personally from me for joining at short notice. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Nishant.
Okay,
And
guys.
thank you, Professor Ramesh, also, as usual. You have been very kind. Thank you, everyone. I hope you
Thank
enjoyed today's lecture.